Here you have to understand about discovering that the saga continues by A.R. Williams. Good morning, students. I will tell you all about the given chapter. It is for class 11 English from Hornville. First of all, I would like to tell you all the terms that have been used here that are given. So what is that you must understand? It tells us about the forensic reconstructions. What does it mean? It means to say that an activity of building against something damaged or to help scientific tests to solve a crime. Next one is scudded across. Scudded across means what? Moved quickly across something. Casket gray. What does it mean? A small gray box or a gray sky. Resurrection. Resurrection means a new beginning for something which is already so old. Funerary treasures means collection of valuable things used at the time of funeral. Circumvented, found a way of avoiding a difficulty or a rule. Eerie detail, E-R-I-E, eerie detail. It means strange and frightening little bits of facts. Strange and frightening little bits of facts. So here I told you all about the major words that are given in the beginning. Moreover, there are computed tomography. It is also there, and that you will understand what is tomography. Tomography is a technique for displaying a cross section through a human body. One more term you must understand: autopsy, an examination of a dead body to discover the cause of death or the extent of the disease that the man has suffered. ECG, it is the electrocardiogram or electrocardiograph. Post-mortem, it is a medical examination that is done to a dead body for finding something, the details, how he died. Angiography, radiography of blood. Angiography, what is this? Angiography, angiography, radiography of blood or lymph vessels, carried out after introduction of a substance that is opaque to X-ray. So here I have told you most of the terms that are to be used. He was just a teenager when he died, the last heir of a powerful family that had ever ruled Egypt, and its empire for centuries continued. He was laid to rest laden with gold and eventually forgotten. So here I will tell you his story. An angry wind stirred up ghostly dust devils as King Tut was taken from his resting place in the ancient Egyptian cemetery known as the Valley of the Kings. Dark-bellied clouds had scudded across the desert sky all day and now were veiling the stars in casket grey. It was 6 p.m. on January 2005. 6005. The world's most famous mummy glided head first into a CT scanner brought here to probe the lingering medical mysteries of this little understood young ruler who died more than 3,300 years ago. All afternoon, the usual line of tourists from around the world had descended into the cramped rock-cut tomb some 26 feet underground to pay their respect. So they gazed at the murals on the walls of the burial chamber and peered at gilded face. Tut's gilded face, the most striking feature of his mummy-shaped outer coffin lid. Some visitors read from guidebooks in a whisper, and others stood silently, perhaps pondering Tut's untimely death in his late teens, or wondering with a shiver if the Pharaoh's curse, death, or misfortune falling upon those who disturbed him was really true. It was certainly true that he had died either of a curse or a misfortune that continued. The mummy is in very bad condition because of what Carter did in 1920s. Who said this? Jahi Hawass. Who is Jahi Hawass? He is the Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, who studies about the old ancient things, as he leaned over the body for a long first look. Howard Carter, that who was the British archaeologist who in 1922 discovered Tut's tomb after years of futile searching. Its contents, though hastily ransacked in antiquity, were surprisingly complete. They remain the richest royal collection ever found and have become part of the Pharaoh's legend, old stories. A stunning fact is that artifacts in gold and their eternal balance meant to guarantee resurrection caused a sensation at the time of the discovery and still get the most attention, but that was also buried with everyday things you'd want in the afterlife. What were they? They were board games, a bronze razor, linen undergarment, cases of food and wine. These all things were put in his coffin. After months of carefully recording the Pharaoh's funerary treasures, Carter began investigating his three nested coffins. Opening the first, he found a shroud cloth adorned with garlands of willow and olive leaves, wild celery, lotus petals, and cornflowers, the faded evidence of a burial in March or April. It guaranteed that he must have died in the month of March or April, as the willow leaves and wild celery and lotus petals are found in March or April. When he finally erased the mummy, though he ran into trouble, it was because the ritual legends had hardened, cementing Tut to the bottom of his solid gold coffin. No amount of legitimate force could remove them. Carter wrote, what was to be done? Really, it was impossible. The sun can beat down like a hammer this far south in Egypt. And Carter tried to use it to loosen the resins for several hours. For several hours, he set the mummy outside in blazing sunshine that heated it to 149 degrees Fahrenheit. You can imagine how hot this very region was. But nothing happened. And he reported the consolidated material had to be chiseled away. And really, it was chiseled. The limbs and trunk before it was possible to raise the king's remains. In his own defense, Carter really had little choice. If he had not cut the mummy face free, thieves most certainly would have circumvented the guards and ripped it apart to remove the gold. Whereas the thieves could come and really would loot all the things. In that time, the royals were fabulously wealthy. They were extremely rich, and they thought or hoped that they could take their riches with them. It was a myth that is still practiced by Hindus that after death they give everything of the daily use to the priest in donations. Like that, in that time the royals were fabulously wealthy and all these things were given to them. King Tut was lavished with glittering goods, precious collars, inlaid necklaces and bracelets, rings, amulets, a ceremonial apron, sandals, seats for his fingers and toes, and iconic inner coffin and mask, all of pure gold. You can understand. They were precious collars, inlaid necklaces, bracelets, rings, amulets, a ceremonial apron, sandals, seats from fingers to toes. To separate Tut from his adornments, Carter's men removed the mummy's head and searched nearly every major joint. Once they had finished, they reassembled the remains on a layer of sand in a wooden box with padding that concealed the damage. The bed where Tut now rests. Archaeology had changed substantially in the intervening decades, focusing less on treasures and more on the fascinating details of life. What is the matter? That intriguing mysteries of death. It also uses more sophisticated tools, including medical technology. In 1968, more than 40 years after Carter's discovery, an anatomy professor x-rayed the mummy and revealed a surprising fact. Beneath the resins that cakes his chest, his breastbone and front ribs are missing. Today, diagnostic imaging can be done with computed tomography. That is the technique for displaying a cross-section through a human body. So here X-rays or ultrasounds, CT, by which hundreds of X-rays in cross-sections were put together, virtual images were taken, and CT scan revealed of Tut than the X-ray. It answered two of the biggest questions. What were they? That how did he die and how old was King Tut at the time of his death? Really, I will tell you all these things, the answer in the next video so that you can learn it very well. Thank you, children. Thank you.